more cookies or anything?
No.
You want me to hide these?
Yes.
So that we're not...
And are they all over the floor? Are they all over the floor? They're all over the floor, aren't they?
Sequel, the podcast. Join us on this ride. Fun discussions every week with insights far and wide. Far and wide, we'll learn along as we break it all down. Marissa, Moody, Joseph, and Ryan, the best hosts in town.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Sequel the Podcast, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the continued. I'm Ryan.
I'm Marissa.
I'm Manira.
I'm Joseph.
And with this Friday being Friday the 13th, we thought what better way than to talk about Friday the 13th Part 2. But before we do that, we have to get into a Kevin Bacon classic, Friday the 13th Part 1.
I was like, Hollow Man?
Hollow Man. Getting into it. What did we think of Friday? I almost said Halloween.
Damn.
Because...
I mean, that's very fitting.
Yeah, well, it was
around the same time. Yeah,
they wanted to do a Halloween ripoff, but with a meatballs twist, is what I read.
and that
So
makes sense for what the twist is.
Yeah,
It does definitely make sense. I've always enjoyed the first one. Honestly, I think the first one is my favorite of the entire franchise. Like,
I like it.
I love the POV of the killer. I love seeing the reaction of the victims every time, thinking like, "Oh, hey," and then it's just dead. Like, and again, Kevin Bacon classic, as you said. There's a lot of good stuff in that movie. I dig the story. I totally understand Mrs. Voorhees' like point of why she's doing what she's doing. You know, like they give you
Spoiler.
there's story.
Spoiler.
Yeah, and if you haven't been with us for a little while, obviously heavy spoilers for all the movies we talk about.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're talking about like the remake of Friday the 13th, which that was abysmal, like early 2009, 10. I forgot when that one came out. That was.
I don't remember if I hated that one or not.
I try to forget about it.
Was that the
Yeah.
one with the kid from where they try to steal the SAT scores or whatever? Isn't he in that?
I think
he's
he
like the
is. I
stoner
believe he
kid.
is. Yeah.
It's like the Asian kid.
Yeah.
Is
No,
that-
you're right. You're
Is
absolutely
that
right.
the
No,
one
you're right.
with the Panna Baker sister?
I don't know. I haven't.
You've never seen that one. That's the only one you haven't
We
seen
haven't
because I
gotten there yet.
refuse. Yeah.
Oh, and then isn't what's his name? Dean from Gilmore Girls, isn't he in it too? He's like
Yes.
looking for the
Yeah,
sister,
he is. He is.
right?
Yeah,
and then
he
he
is.
really likes the Panna Baker sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
The
then
older
yeah,
one or the younger one?
the older one,
Yeah.
Danielle.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one that was in the Flash TV show, right?
I don't know. If
You
Sure,
would
we're
know
spending
this.
way too much time on that shitty.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyways,
anyway.
back to
Anyway,
the
yeah, I was
original.
like,
That
we're
was
getting
actually good.
way too deep.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed it. I thought it was an interesting new take on a slasher film where you don't know what's really going on until the twist happens. And I think they executed the twist very well.
I think that's one of the major things that makes that movie so great. Is it's almost like a whodunit, kind of in a way.
Oh,
Ladies, what did we think about Friday the 13th?
I think it's one of the most like iconic slasher movies. I think it was good overall. It has like a star power cast. You have Kevin Bacon. I thought the movie was a good laugh. Like, it had scenes that made me chuckle while watching it. I didn't find it too scary, but I think for me, I don't really find a lot of like 80s slasher movies to be too scary. I thought it was good.
I feel like you just say 80 movies.
No, just aliens.
Yeah.
I thought it was just
She
like,
didn't say that she hated it.
She's on my side.
2.5 doesn't say she loves it.
Well, yeah, but she said it was like good.
It was good.
So I feel like she's very like mundane. Like she could do with it, she could do without it, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not.
I mean,
But
technically it was
2.5.
79, so.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
it's a clever way of, I thought the movie was very clever in like its storytelling of hiding the identity of the killer. Because when I first watched it, I didn't really know. Because I think when I first watched it, I watched Scream first. So was it Scream? Yes.
Yep.
Scream, when the whole question happens. So I didn't know, I haven't watched Friday the 13th before. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. Overall, I thought it was good. I thought Alice being the final girl in the movie was a good way to have her being like the final girl, because she gets the final say in the film too. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Overall, I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty good. Better
Marissa?
than Aliens.
Better than alien. Aliens or alien?
Alien.
That hurts. Hurts a little. I have a lot about this movie, just because of so many things that are a part of this movie, mainly like the crew that are behind it. I saw it back in high school, and I kind of already knew the premise, already knew kind of who the killer was and everything like that. So for me, I think knowing all of the movies that kind of came out before this movie, I think looking at it back now, it's definitely on the lower end of slashers if you want to get there. But I definitely think it's still an iconic slasher. I think Jason, especially like as the series and franchise progressed, is now more iconic, especially with like the hockey mask and everything like that. But obviously he is not the killer in this movie. And I think this is just one of those, like, the director was Sean S. Cunningham, who, I don't know if you guys know this or not, had previously worked on Last House on the Left with Wes Craven. And I definitely feel a lot of that vibe with this movie. He definitely saw Halloween and he was like, I want to make my own Halloween, kind of like you said with the whole meatballs thing. I kind of understand the meatballs thing because of like the nudity, but at the same time, there wasn't a lot because a lot was cut because they didn't want an X rating and yada yada yada, and they had to make room for the kills, which, like, makeup director Tom Savini, excellent job. He is one of my favorite makeup people, I will say that. But overall, it was one of the first movies that made me do like the psychological deep dive of like, if you do something wrong, then something wrong will happen to you, kind of thing. It is very much like a kind of abides by the laws of don't do drugs, don't have sex, you'll get murdered, kind of slasher ideology, if you will. So I don't know, I kind of like it for that aspect, but other than that, like, the camera work's a little shaky, and I get it, it's supposed to be from like the killer's point of view, but at the same time it's very kind of open-ended of like, okay, it's not, we're looking at from the killer's point of view, and then now we're not looking at the killer's point of view, we're at like the narrator, or like from viewing it from our perspective, so it kind of jumps a little bit too much. And then I have a lot of like nitpicky stuff, but I just wanted to give my initial run through before we if we want to dive a little bit deeper.
Can I go back to your comment that you made about like the don't have sex? When I was rewatching the movie for both of them, the idea that came into my head, it's what better way to sell a movie about horny teens than having a movie about horny teens dying and having just like horny teens watching a movie about horny teens. That's all I thought about in my head while watching.
Horny
Can you say
teens.
horny teens?
Yeah.
Can you say horny teens one more time?
Horny teens.
Horny teens.
Horny teens, horny teens.
It's a movie about horny teens
Yeah.
watching horny teens.
I think that there's a lot of like little things too that are just very like time, like it just makes this movie very nostalgic. Like specifically I noted like the hitchhiking in like the 70s and 80s, like nobody would ever hitchhike now because of all the stuff that's happened, and just, you know, stranger
Because
danger.
all them damn horror movies.
Yeah, just like stranger danger and all that stuff. And so it's kind of nice to see obviously all the dress, you know, the costume, well, not costumes for the time, but just the dress wear is really fun. Yeah, I don't know if we want to talk how much you guys want to get into it. I know you guys don't have a lot of
I only
notes
have
for it.
I
have
only
so
have
much for this movie, so
I only
just feel
have
bad.
one more little tidbit because you brought up star-studded cast.
Oh yeah, but you said star-studded cast, so I want to say
Yeah, there's a character in this movie other than Kevin Bacon, but another star-studded adjacent person, and that's the character of Bill, being played by Harry Crosby, which,
Oh,
as we
that's
all
right.
know, is Bing Crosby's son for some random reason.
Mhm.
I don't remember why he wanted to be there, but I think it had something to do with he wanted to start his own career away from his father's fame. Or something
And I
like
want to say, like, there's a scene where there's like a piano, and I want to say that there's a picture of Bing Crosby on the piano.
like a sheet music. That you
Yeah,
said that
I
was
haven't.
sitting
I
there.
looked it up, and there's nothing that specifically is like, yeah, it is a picture. But like, I swear, just like if you freeze frame and like look in, I feel like it's definitely a picture of Bing Crosby. It was like a nice little nod
It might be.
to it, and he looks just like him too. The son, sorry. Which, well, no, it's like a spitting, like
No,
a
I know
spitting
what
image.
I know what you mean.
But, I also had that in my notes.
Yeah,
as
hit us
well.
with the rest of your notes because
For
I know you said you
it,
wrote a lot for it.
I mean, there's so many things, which I mean, obviously over time with this movie, just so many fun facts and like interviews and everything came out. The snake that was in there, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but they really killed that snake, like on camera. That is the real life death of a snake, which I feel like is supposed to be the funniest scene in the movie. Is kind of sad now because you realize that animal or reptile,
Yeah,
reptilian
cruelty.
death, yeah,
Still an
just
animal. That makes
happened.
sense.
This is the first time too where we kind of see in the franchise we get that like a kill happens and then it just white screens, which I feel like is used very often, especially in the second one when we get to it, where it's just a kill happens and fades into
flashbang.
this like this white screen of like, is that them going to heaven?
I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I was like,
I
don't
felt
know.
like I was in hell.
I mean,
how
yeah,
many
it's like
times
I'm
it
not trying to
happened.
like persuade one versus the other.
Yeah,
I
the
just
second
like
one
why
doubled
else?
down on that.
Why
Oh,
be
double
white?
down
Why
on the
be
white
like? Is
screen.
it and I don't know. That's just my. Does everybody know also where the noise that Jason comes with Jason, the ch mama,
Hit us with it.
which is it's basically cut frames of Betsy Palmer's character, Mrs. Voorhees, saying kill her mommy. So they just put the kill mama, and then it's just over it. So it's not ch mama, it's kill mom.
Interesting.
If you did or did not know.
I did not know that.
Did or did not know that. So,
No, yeah, that's great.
I also have a lot of issues with continuity with this movie because we get that killer perspective. So there's a scene where the killer is watching Alice at the camp, and literally the very next scene is the killer picking up Annie, the cook, to kill her. So
She's fast as fuck, boy.
yeah, I was
She
like,
fast as
how? I
fuck,
mean, like, I
boy.
get that she has a she has a car, obviously, because she picks her up in a vehicle, but it's just so kind of strange for her to be like, I'm watching you through the woods, and then immediately like already in the car picking her up.
Yeah, there should have been a scene in the middle there.
Yeah, like something, or
yeah.
like something,
to
like
show
right.
some
Some
time
type
had
of dialogue.
passed.
Yeah.
Well, even
Just
even
so-
if it wasn't including them, if it was like with the other counselors or like them actually working, because that was one of my other notes, is just kind of like, all right, they're just like drinking and having sex and laying by the lake and like chilling, and I'm just like,
They're camping, but it's not like
yeah,
like
they're
camp
not really
counseling.
like they're not really working very hard to set up this camp. We already talked about Kevin Bacon, which I love, and I always look for my 6 degrees of Kevin
He's
Bacon.
sort of like becoming horror, not royalty, but
he just like gets picked up in random stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Randomly.
there in
Yeah, because
some.
he was just recently in Maxine.
Yes.
Yeah, he was recently in Maxine. So I feel like he'll just kind of like I wonder how he picks like scripts just out of like random curiosity.
out of a hat.
That's
If
what
he
I was
just like
thinking.
like does his like
I'll do
who
this
does his like his picking.
But go ahead with
My fun fact, I'm sorry to take up all this. My fun fact of this movie is that this is the second movie that we are reviewing and talking about where Monopoly is played.
yes.
That's right, because it was
Wow.
played in Weekend at
It's
Bernie's.
played a Weekend of Bernie's, and then it's played here, and they're all playing it at night when it's raining.
Monopoly equals
So I thought
death.
that was really fun.
I mean, it is pretty long.
Do not pass go.
Do
Do not live tomorrow.
The Marcy kill is probably my personal favorite, just because she sees it coming and she just does that like,
No.
like
Yeah.
she like
Top,
puts her
yeah.
hands up, yeah, like the no. She does that, and I think rewatching this, I did not realize, because I always, when I was like, oh, it's Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is like a superstitious day, that whole lore, but I always forget that Friday the 13th is Jason's birthday, and I know that Mrs. Voorhees says that, and she goes, today is his birthday, but I always forget that that's the case, and I'm always like, wow, so like Friday the 13th, happy birthday, Jason. Just like a little cake with 13 candles on it or some nonsense. Do they ever mention how old Jason was when he
75.
died? Like, or like he was 8 or he was
Maybe,
12,
yeah,
or
well,
he
he
was.
was-
I think
I
he
feel
was,
like
It's
she
not
says
coming.
something.
Yeah, I was like, it's not coming. I'm just like, I remember her being like, he was just a boy, but
I would say between 6 and 8. And that's just.
see, I feel
that's
like it
just
was I feel like it would be more like 8
11
to 10.
years old.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
11.
feel like it would be
11.
like 8
You're
to
close.
10, but okay, 11 makes so much more sense to me. There is one particular moment that really not gets me, but at the end, there's when she's kind of like, oh, what about the boy? Did you get the boy? When she wakes up, Alice wakes up in the hospital, and then it pans back to when she's like, he's still out there, and it pans back to the serene lake, and it's all still, and then you just see like this little like murmur in the water. Like that I really liked. I wish they would have ended on that, but I know that they wanted that jump scare, kind of similar to Carrie at the time. That was just, sorry, I just took like the words out of your mouth. But
You did. I was like, okay, yeah, that one.
yeah, I was like, I don't want to. I feel like
We are
I
all
feel like
just
I hit all my.
movie
Yeah, I
nerds
was like,
or
I feel like I hit all my
oh,
stuff.
oh,
So, the only other thing I'll just mention is just Crazy Ralph just not
Crazy, yeah.
really being needed here. But I love his line where he's never come back again. I love that.
You always bring it up.
Yeah, it's just every time he's on the screen, I just like, never come back again.
What are our thoughts of
Sorry.
Kid Jason jumping out of the water? Like, do we think was that reality? Was it a dream? Like, did you think it added value to the end? Like you said,
So-
like you wish it just ended with like a little murmuring in the
Yeah, the murmur
in
would
the
have been
yeah,
great.
like what did you think of that? Or what did you guys all think of that?
I don't know if it was necessarily needed, but I know that it's a very iconic shot. That like it scared the shit out of a lot of people the first time they saw it, and it's sort of just that shock, like, whoa, no.
Yeah.
Was it needed though? I don't think so. I think that if they just ended it that way,
Little tease, yeah.
yeah, little tease, like maybe
Yeah.
something,
Something's happening.
yeah,
Yeah. Leave that little door open to be like, ooh.
yeah, which apparently that was a big enough
Yeah,
opening
I mean,
for that.
I agree with you. I didn't necessarily know if it was needed or not. I think it was kind of just thrown out there. I was trying to remember I know Alice brings it up when she's in the hospital, like one of like her last like few lines is, but he's still out there or something like that. So I think that was enough to allude to something where I didn't necessarily need the rest of it too.
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh, I was like, yeah, wherever you. I mean, yeah, it was. I understand why they wanted to do it, especially with like the whole Carrie thing and the jump scare. And I feel like, once again, like as much as I appreciate Sean S. Cunningham for giving us this movie, a lot of it I feel like is just, oh, I saw this in a movie and think it's really cool, so I want to put that in my movie. And even like the whole Jason coming out of the lake and doing the jump scare, I feel like there was a conversation or like there's an interview where they're talking to somebody and they were just like, did you guys mean to do that? And Tom Savini's like, as a joke, was like, well, what if we just had Jason pop out of the water as like a joke? And they're like, no, let's do that. Let's run with that. It sounds like a good idea. And they did it. So I don't know if they just wanted to attempt something scary, because I think as Munir is right, like there's nothing that's really that terrifying about this unless you were to say put in a jump scare. Unless you're thinking about this movie realistically, like alone in the woods, there's nothing around you, you have no idea what's in the darkness, kind of like setting the tone for it, which they don't really do because they open during the day. Like they kind of give you the lore of Jason in the middle kind of thing, but there's not really a whole lot that sets you up to kind of feel unsettled, to feel scared. It's just kind of your general slasher whodunity kind of movie. So with that said, I'm gonna give it 2.5 poppies.
Interesting.
I gave it a 3 out of 5 poppies. Again, it's just an iconic film. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was just there.
Yeah, I give it a 3 just for the significance of it and like how it's aged throughout the years. I think a lot of people during Halloween time, especially when it's like Friday the 13th, like AMC will always have like a marathon.
Yeah, they'll usually run it.
So like I feel like there's way more terrible movies in this franchise than this one.
Oh yeah.
So like this one, I give it its respect for what it is and what it stands for. So I'm comfortable with the 3 out of 5 poppies.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I gave it a 3 as well. 3 poppies.
3 of them bad boys.
3 of them bad boys. Buttery poppies.
Don't break Joseph.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
He'll choke.
Break him.
Jesus.
So with that being said, let's jump into part 2.
Yeah.
Who wants to lead us off on that one?
I'm gonna let Mooney jump that one off.
Go for it.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. So, first off by going, this is actually my favorite movie in the franchise.
Really? Okay.
It is.
Out of here.
It
Really?
is. I really enjoyed it. I think the characters, I
Disappointed.
think what they did with part 2 is they took the good things from part 1 but made it better in
Really?
part 2.
That's a statement right there. That's quite the
I'm
statement.
gonna let you
No.
cook. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go.
I feel like it was just better. I like the character of what I just learned now is Ginny, not Jenny. I liked her a lot better than I liked Alice. I don't know why. I liked her. You guys are gonna judge me, but it's fine.
No, we're
Already-
listening.
I'm already judging.
I feel like it also had my favorite death in the entire movie franchise.
Entire franchise.
Yes, the entire franchise.
For now.
I mean,
For now.
it's pretty good.
I have not
Yeah,
seen.
was like,
I've not
it's pretty
seen all
good.
the. I will preface this by saying I have
She
not
has.
seen. I've not seen every single movie.
You
I've
haven't
not seen
the
all
only
of them.
one you haven't seen is Jason X. That's the only one you haven't seen. You've
What
seen
about
all
the
of
one
them.
where we go to New York?
You've seen
You
that
haven't
one.
seen
I have?
Jason X?
Yes, she has never seen Jason X, but you've seen the New York one. You've seen when
Mm-hmm.
Homeboy gets magical powers.
Jason and the
yeah.
Muppets Take Manhattan.
Did you
that
see
one?
the one where he where Jason punches the one kid and
She's
his
seen that one.
head comes
You've
off?
seen
That's
that
pretty
one.
magical.
Sure. I don't remember. I really don't remember.
Pretty magical.
But I remember this one at least, and I
What
liked
is it? Hit us with it.
I just feel like it was a lot. I don't know. I just enjoyed it. It made me laugh. I go back to the same thing where it's not a scary movie. It's just your regular slasher movie like the first one. It made me laugh. I like the characters. I like the character of, I don't remember his name, but who was the prankster of the group.
Was he the redhead?
Yes.
Ted, I think is his name.
With the newsy hat. That kid?
Yeah, that guy.
Was it Ted?
I don't remember his name.
He looked like this is the same guy I wrote in my notes. Discount Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
That's
that
what
guy.
I wrote. Well, no, but I want to hear what was your favorite kill?
My favorite kill was, I believe his name is Mark, the guy in the wheelchair, where he just gets the machete through his skull, first half of his head. I don't remember,
Yeah.
skull through his head. Then he just rolls down.
A comical amount of stairs.
Yeah.
What's that
It's
movie?
so many steps.
So many.
They do it on purpose as well
Yeah.
too. They know what
What's
they're
that movie
doing.
where
What's
it's
the
the
point?
alien where he's Paul Rudd always shows it
Always goes back to
during
Alien.
you know,
Mac
Always
and me.
Mac and me. I don't know why that scene reminds me of just the wheelchair going down that hill. If we could put
Yeah.
oh my god, I don't know if we
Put-
can
yeah,
put that
no,
there.
Yeah, we can.
But just
yeah.
the oh no, and he's just going
throwing
down
Mac
the hill.
and me in right here.
Yeah,
Just
I was
do
like,
it.
that's what I see, but just not death,
That scene so much better if they don't end it with the flashing white.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they should have let
Like,
that
I think-
let it
play
run.
out.
Yeah.
Just let it run.
Yeah.
Let him
Just
fall
let
out
him
of the
Yeah.
wheelchair.
fall into the lake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
that would have been
anything.
even better. I'm
Just
like,
anything. You
it's-
know he's
it
dead.
totally devalues that scene where it just stops and it's just light. And it's yeah, sure, maybe it is. Maybe it
terrible.
is because they are going to heaven, but it just devalues that scene completely.
Terrible.
It's just
Yeah.
such a random, half-ass transition to the next scene. It's oh, you don't need that. I think that scene would have been so much better. But it is my favorite of that movie.
Yeah.
That is my favorite kill of the movie.
Definitely.
Not of the franchise, but my favorite kill of that film. Absolutely.
I think also with this one too, besides it being my favorite kill, I think the musician the composer of the film who makes the music, I think he does a good way to build suspense with his choices of music. Stop it, Joseph. Just stop.
I mean, the little trills are
I'm gonna let you cook.
Yeah,
Let her
I
cook.
think
Let her cook.
I liked it. I thought it since the movie didn't scare me, I feel like the music did a good way of building up that suspense factor. I think besides the music, I think the cinematography was great. I liked a lot of the POV shots that you see, the long shots. I think it was when Ginny's running through the cabin house, whatever it is, and then you kind of see just the camera following her through, running around in the house, and then that scene where Jason's in the window behind her, kind of thing. I just thought it was fun, just watching the cinematography. I kind of felt you're back to the point of view of being the killer.
She likes the creeper shots where it's the killer watching the kids undress.
Essentially,
Just in the
yeah.
Oh
forest.
yeah, yeah.
Essentially.
Just the hand
Very
pulling the
voyeuristic,
bushes away.
yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of
You
thing.
guys see the cold breath or looking
Yeah,
out.
yeah, just the
Yeah, because one of the notes that I have is the POV shots. It kind of just makes you wonder who's actually watching all of these characters from the beginning parts of the movie.
Excuse me, sir.
Just trying to add the
Yeah,
effects.
stop it.
Yeah,
Well, don't.
and then back to Ginny. I actually think
Ginny?
she's back to the trope of being the final girl. I think she might be my favorite final girl in all of
The
horror
entire
movies.
franchise? Oh, all of horror
All
movies?
of horror
Oh
movies.
my
All of
God.
horror?
Yes.
It's Sigourney-
I think she was great. I liked her
Sigourney
character.
Weaver. You asked us why we like Sigourney Weaver.
I
And
can't
this
even.
is the hill you're going to die on
I
right now?
cannot
Yes,
even right now.
I
I
am.
mean, Jamie Lee Curtis. See, there's a lot of final
There's
girls.
so
out
many,
there. It's
that-
hard to pick
Okay,
one.
fine.
I'm
The
sorry,
best one
it's
in this
just- I don't
franchise.
even
The best
think-
one
okay,
in this
the franchise-
So far, yes.
The
yes.
franchise, maybe, yeah.
That is a
but
debate.
the whole,
We'll
like,
debate.
But
We'll
horror
debate.
movies?
yeah,
That's
as
insane.
a whole.
Okay, I will get back to the answer of
Sydney
my favorite.
Prescott,
I could do without her.
she's a fighter too, man.
I could do without her.
You do it without Sydney Prescott?
Yes, I could do without her.
Okay, that and the alien thing. And,
Yeah, there's so
People,
many.
and
we
now
never
the
gonna let
comments
me
are going to
forget.
start coming in.
I feel like we
oh,
could have
hold
this
up
argument.
now.
We
Hold
could- this
on
is
now.
the whole episode about just this argument, but we'll let it.
If
we'll
you
let
guys
cook.
have a final girl, who's your favorite? Let us
Yeah,
know.
let us know.
And if anyone
It's
agrees with
definitely
me,
not Jenny.
let me know. You guys are my favorite.
God damn it. Every time somebody asks a question, I just think of the me.
Me.
With that, I'm gonna pass it off to someone else.
Yeah, I was
'cause
like,
I
where's
feel
the
like I'm being
call?
I'm
time.
letting her.
No,
I'm
no,
letting
no,
her
no,
spit
no,
out
no,
my
no.
here. Where
That's
is
what
it?
I'm
Where
getting
is
This
it?
is what we want.
Favorite
We want-
final girl. You love the campiness of it. You love the
I do.
POV shots. Yeah,
I
keep
do.
going.
I think
Can
it
I
was
say
great.
something slightly controversial?
Mm.
Like, I know that we're all
I don't know how much
about
more
like.
controversial you can get.
Well, no, yes, like within limit. So as much as like I know we're so into the final girl whole statement, and I know that it's very like women empowering and yada yada yada. I would have loved to see like Paul be like the final person, if you will.
Final boy.
Or even that one guy that like at the end where he's just like boozing it up at the casino. Technically, isn't he
Casino.
a final man boy?
He I was
Yeah, I was like, because he doesn't die. We never see him die. He just like
Because he's smart enough
lives
to
his
just
life.
keep drinking. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
he-
so do
yeah.
we? So then that begs the question: do we even really have a final girl?
No, because we don't even know what happened to
we do-
Paul.
well, by the statement, we do have a final girl.
Yeah, she's the
or
last
woman,
person we
final
see.
girl, woman. Yeah, I was gonna say she's the last person that we see be
Yeah.
carried. Well, he's not the last person that we see because technically we see a dead head and we see somebody
yeah.
driving away the ambulance.
Yeah,
But like, I would have really liked. I feel like I had more of a connection to Paul Holt because he was like fighting to keep her alive. You know, like he was trying to protect her, and I feel like I just felt more of a connection wanting him to survive and wanting him to like see the ending through.
see for me,
versus
my connection was with
Ginny.
the dog.
I mean,
Yeah,
the dog.
Muffin.
Yeah, but what happened to the dog
What
even too?
happened
Like
to the dog?
that's what it is. At the end of the movie, you're like, okay, like we see that Ginny is alive and she's being carried away in an ambulance, but like, what happened to Paul? What happened to Muffin? Muffin, this is the dog, by the way. What happened to these
Yeah,
characters?
because the scene before that's literally Jason jumping through that window to grab her, which was a real reaction from her because she did not know that was actually happening.
yeah.
So that's a true reaction, and then it just cuts. They do. I think they did the light again, didn't they? I think that was like the last time
They,
we see
mi-
the.
they
Yeah,
do
they
it
do
so
su-
many
yeah,
times.
they
They
do
do it
so
so
many
many times.
times.
So many times.
Yeah.
I feel like they do it again.
Yes,
and then
no,
the
you're
next
right.
scene is like she's getting
just already
put
getting
into
wheeled
the
off.
ambulance. She's like, "Where's Paul?" And like we're just like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
where's
And
Paul?"
that's exactly what I said. I said exactly. Where the fuck is Paul?
Why are we leaving this so open ended? Where it's like, "Where's Paul? Where's the
can't wait till
dog?
it's my
What
turn."
happened?" I'm like, it just like quickly went like that. And
I
then
feel like they just wrapped it so quick because they're just like, well, we're kind of done.
Put a
with-
bow on it and fucking.
Yeah.
we'll just wrap it up.
well, they did it so quick because even the first one came out 1980, and then the second one wrapped wrapped within like a year, which is crazy to me. So, and this got released with like so many other movies that came out in 1981 that are like horror.
Halloween too.
Yeah, like horror adjacent. And even and one of my comments too was, with Jason having like the burlap sap over his head, it reminded me, or even just his face reminded me of another movie that came out literally 7 days after this movie, which is The Burning. And if you guys haven't seen The Burning, it's like the same thing. It's like same concept. It's like cabin in the woods, teenagers, like campers or whatever, and then they get killed by this like vicious killer that's on the loose. Like, check it out. I think it's on like Shudder or something like that. But I like it better than this movie. But it's like kind of the first of its kind, kind of a copycat of Friday the 13th kind of thing. But one of the guys that's in Friday the 13th Part 2 is actually in The Burning as well. So I wonder where he had time to shoot everything. But that's just my little fun little factoid.
You don't get to say it yet.
Yeah, you don't.
You can't
Until
say
you
it
watch
yet.
the show.
What I do love about the Friday the 13th movies is that it was not supposed to just be about Jason. They wanted to do what Halloween was supposed to do as well, was have different scary stories per se take place on like Halloween night. It was supposed to take place on Friday the 13th. And then the director, which was Steve Miner, whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yeah,
He was the one like, no, I just want to do Jason. I want to do Jason Voorhees. I want him to be the lead. Same way the studio was pushing for Michael Myers to be just the lead. I know we eventually did get a different Halloween movie with Halloween 3. Friday the 13th, they just went all the way with Jason.
Yeah.
But they did want different, like, scary stories being told with the title name Friday the 13th.
They just wanted I think they just wanted a series or a franchise at that point.
Yeah.
Because I think even like having like, they brought back 2 characters, immediately killed them off. They had Alice and Crazy Ralph. Like, which is so unnecessary. It would have been super cool if they had like Crazy Ralph be the killer to like continue the storyline of being like, oh, you're like, don't go there, it's that place is haunted kind of thing. I think that would have been a great aspect. Or yeah, even just to have like Friday the 13th as a superstition. And
Yeah.
I feel like there's a Friday the 13th miniseries show.
There should be, yeah.
I feel like there is.
Yeah.
I feel like there is. I don't know. Don't quote me
I'll
on
tell
that.
you right now.
I know there's a Nightmare on Elm Street show,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't remember if they actually did a Friday the 13th. It has nothing to do with Freddy Krueger from memory. But I don't.
There's a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
series.
say, like, I feel like there's a
Interesting.
series.
3 seasons. Came out in 1987.
Well, something interesting with like the director, and you bring up Halloween again, is that Steve Miner did end up doing Halloween H2O.
He did. He also did Lake Placid.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that gem of a movie.
That was so good.
Gem.
I think he did
We
Day
get
of
to
the
talk about
Dead.
those too. Possibly,
I think
Oh,
he
yeah,
did
no.
Day of the Dead too.
because I know that's why they got Tom to do the practical effects.
Oh, Tom Savini. Oh yeah,
was
because they liked
because
what
of
he did
Yeah,
in
Dawn of the Dead.
yeah,
And
which like he's great too, like practical effects.
and the other
wise.
comparison too with Friday the 13th Part 2 and Halloween 2, both killers kill a cop with a hammer in each
Oh,
movie.
did they really?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Oh, and now that you're bringing up like similar kills too, I think it's also like we should also on the fact of like what could have been a great kill, which is like Jeff and Sandra, they're the two counselors that get speared
yeah,
in the,
the
bed.
double.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very similar to another movie, which is Bay of Blood, which is a giallo horror movie, so an Italian horror movie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah. It's
Oh,
like
nice.
it's very
Nice.
Yes.
Gabagool?
But there was a lot of
The fuck is he?
comparisons when people watched it. There was a lot of comparisons to that kill as well. So I feel like it kind of continues the Friday the 13th, like just being they saw and were inspired by horror movies and were like, oh well, let's put that in our movie, which is a give and take, right? Because you don't want to copycat somebody else's moves and
Yeah.
movies and themes and ideas. But at the same time, I feel like you could take something and really make it your own. And I feel like, I know recently we saw this too. So like someone like Fede Alvarez, who's just really kind of taking like a franchise or a piece or like continuation of a story and just kind of doing it in a different way and like not necessarily better, but very much adding to the franchise, to the series, to the idea, and not just like ripping off other movies.
No.
He's almost paying homage to
Yeah,
and
you
adding
can
like
tell.
a new layer
Yeah.
to that take. Yeah.
Exactly.
Everything he's doing it with love.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
You can feel it.
Exactly.
He's not tarnishing the legacy of what.
Yeah,
came
he's trying to
before.
just
It's
like
more
add.
of a-
Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
trying to like make it like appreciate it, kind of thing.
What else did you think?
Oh yeah, so originally they did want Jenny from the first one to come back and be the star.
You mean
Alice?
Alice?
Alice.
My bad,
Alice.
Alice. Yeah, they want Alice to come back for the second one and be the star of the entire franchise. But
Adrienne King, I think is
Adrienne
her
King,
name.
yes, and she did not want to come back for two reasons. One, she had a real life stalker
I saw that
after the
too,
first
yeah.
Friday the 13th,
Really?
to the point where that guy pulled a gun out on her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
she talked him
Interesting.
down.
Yeah, tracked her
Interesting.
down. So she didn't want to be a part of that. She was like, I don't know if the stardom's worth it. I don't know if I want to be an actress
Which is
anymore.
yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I,
could-
mean,
That's terrifying.
You can't
I
even
can hear that.
yeah, it's like,
I don't
why?
blame her for that.
No,
Yeah.
uh-uh.
And then because of that, her agent was like asking for like a bunch of money. Like, if you want her to star, then you need to pay her like big time money for her to have to go through
Show
what she already
me
went
the
through.
money.
And the studio was like, yeah, we can't meet that asking price. She did not know what was gonna happen to her character till she showed up to set.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like
Yeah.
they didn't show her the script. They didn't tell her what was happening to her character. She just showed up, filmed her scene. They're like, all right, cool, you're done. And that was like the end to her character, basically.
I feel like that makes so much sense too. Like looking back on the opening, because a lot of that shot, besides them using like 30 minutes of like footage from the first one,
A little recap.
is just like her like she's calling her mom, and then she's walking to take a shower, and then she lets in the cat, and then you're like, I know like there I wrote some random note with the cat where like at one point Ryan and I were watching it, and he's like, who's gonna feed that cat? Like, just like.
Such a concerned cat dad.
And this is like one of the things that I wrote down during like her whole like, okay, she's going to take a shower and she's doing all that stuff. She like puts on tea or whatever, and like spoiler, like Jason comes in and kills her, right? But there's a part in that opening where you just see like Jason take the tea kettle off the stove, and I'm like, how nice, how nice of him to
How
just
thoughtful.
like, well, I don't want the place to burn down, so I'll just, I'll take that off. I just like, why put that in there?
I don't know, because he's just a nice guy.
I just think it's
He's a
super
nice
silly.
guy.
He's a gentleman.
Just above it all, like
Gentleman
he's
scholar.
gonna kill a bunch of teens, but at least he's gonna keep the
He has morals. He
yeah
knows
he's
what
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
fire
He's not
life
trying
safe-
to
fire
kill
life
anyone
safety.
else in that building by burning.
Yeah,
it.
That's
Other-
true. He
other
didn't
people
kill that
gotta live
cat. I
here.
mean, to be fair, we have a cat now and a dog in the series, and like no animal deaths besides the snake.
snake,
but
yeah.
The snake.
yeah, but he didn't kill that snake. The counselors did, and that's why they
Mm.
got. He got killed.
And Jason has the line.
He draws the line at animals.
Most
and
of
tea
my
kettles.
like most of my issues are with the opening. I also have a really big not liking of the title card.
That's
And
exactly
then
one
it
of my
just,
notes
like,
right
it
here.
comes up and it just explodes. And
Yeah.
why an explosion?
Straight out of Michael Bay movie right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, just like why? Like, I mean, I understand like bringing up the title card that way is totally fine, but you could have easily you could have even gone with, the very favorable like whiteout, like the white screen. You could have easily done that, and it would at least been more on.
Maybe it's because
Point.
they broke glass in the first one, and the second one they're like, fucking explosion!
I mean, well, yeah, but the breaking of the glass makes sense, especially more so in this one because you have Jason breaking through a glass window
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah, no.
Which is a huge issue for me in the last bit of the movie, because why would she put her back to the window when she had just had an issue with him coming through the window in a prior scene? Like, why make the same mistake twice?
True.
I mean,
True.
why make the same mistake twice? And it's a horror movie, I get it, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, you would
Sometimes
think
people are dumb.
common sense in the entranceway you would be away
Oh
from that.
yeah,
It's
for
just
me,
like
yeah.
thing
If
on
I'm in a
wall,
horror
it's
movie and
like-
I'm running
yeah.
away, I'm trying to put my back up against any wall that is not to be broken into. Like, even she puts like the log in front of the door, and she kind of like holds her body weight, like not even against it, but like up kind of close to it, and like kind of it like takes him banging on the door for her to be like, oh, maybe I should take my face away. Like, why would you put your what if he had an axe? And I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about I did not like Friday the 13th Part 2. Like, obviously I finished it today and I couldn't even get through it. I felt like it was very repetitive of the first one. I did also not like Jenny. I think that she's very forgettable. I think this whole movie is slightly forgettable unless you're like kind of finding the funny parts to it, I guess, if you will. Like, obviously the wheelchair scene
The
of him being,
campiness of it, I feel
yeah,
like
a little
carries
campy
it. Yeah,
because they're at a camp.
yeah. Also,
Very on
another
the
thing,
nose.
48 seconds cut from this movie, so it wouldn't be X-rated. Like,
Was that the bed scene where they got killed, or is it like nudity?
there
It has to
was
do with
a
nudity.
bunch
Nudity.
of different things, but the bed scene was
I was like a
one
little bit of
them.
both.
Yeah,
A little bit
a
of
little
both.
bit of both.
Them toning down the gore and the blood and everything kind of really hinders this movie for
Oh,
me as
absolutely.
well.
It should have been even more. With it
Yeah,
being
they should have
Jason.
amped it up,
Yeah.
but they were like, no, we gotta make it a little less gory. I
And
don't
that makes
know."
no sense. It's like,
It's a horror movie, man.
yeah, it's like if it's a sequel. You go a little bit
Yeah.
higher.
Yeah.
When you do a sequel, like, you do a little bit more.
Bring the pain.
As
There's
much as
there's
I've
a lot of like random like continuity
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah,
like I
I-
mentioned in the first one. But
Plenty
I
of
cut
stuff
you off.
written
No, you're
down
fine.
here.
I was gonna say, as much as I enjoyed this movie, I wish this one had a lot more kills in this movie. I think the only two kill scenes that I remember is Mark in the wheelchair and then the couple getting speared in the bed. Everything else, I was kind of just like, okay.
Which even like
moving
the
on.
couple in the spare bed is like, I feel
'Cause
like
you don't
very
really see
discount.
that much
Well, yeah,
of
because
it.
they didn't want the X rating and
Yeah.
like, so I totally understand. And it's also like potentially a similar scene, slightly copied of another movie. So I feel like at what point is this just kind of like another everyday, ordinary, whatever
Yeah.
movie?
Mhm.
So I mean, even like to the point with, like, and when I mentioned continuity before, sorry, before I cut you off, that there's a scene where like the suave, debonair, like Scott guy, he's the one that gets like hung upside down and his throat slit. He hits a girl in the butt with the slingshot, and she goes like, "Ow!" and she grabs the opposite butt cheek that he hit. Like,
Mhm.
I don't understand.
Like, you could have just done a different take.
Yeah, do it
Yeah.
again.
Do the right cheek. Like,
Yeah, like
Do
like
both
yeah,
cheeks?
like,
Yeah.
oh, I hit her left, but she got my like I don't.
Yeah, the editing in this film is
Trash.
awful.
Is
And
not, yeah.
Directing's not great either. It's just like that's just a conjunctured mess of stuff where they're
Yeah.
just like it's one of those horror movies where like they're just throwing shit at the wall, hoping it sticks. Just
Well,
for
yeah, even
shock
the director
value.
from the first one, Sean S. Cunningham, didn't want to come back
No, yeah.
for this one because he didn't agree with like the whole like keeping Jason thing.
Yeah.
But his wife did come into the second one. She was the editor for this movie, which I
Oops.
think is really interesting.
Oh, now we know who to blame.
I want to say they're still together, so I don't know if that was like a conversation or like if she was part of the like. The
Well, I
first
feel
one
like
kind of
Sean S. Cunningham actually did come back to help with things like
he might have
uncredited wise,
produced
something like just to kind of help out and like, okay, well, I don't agree with what you're doing, but like I'll help
Yeah.
you, make it look good, I guess.
And I wonder when it came to editing, because this is the shortest Friday the 13th in the entire franchise.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, half that movie is the first one, so I mean, what did
that?
they
Yeah,
film?
I had a big issue with that. Like, it makes the
like,
watching
we
the
get
first
it.
movie
We saw the first one, guy.
null and void.
Maybe some of
Like
us
if you're
saw
going
it.
into the second one, you know anything about the first one, I always like, what's happening? It's like, well, dude,
I mean, if you really want to get into it, like, why is Jason there?
Yeah.
He's like 35 years old.
Mhm.
Why didn't he just? If that was the whole point, like, I'm mad that you killed my mom, so I tracked you down at your house and killed you.
And how did he track her down?
How did he track her down?
Is
It's
he
like,
just going
whose
into
feet are
random
those?
places?
His
Is he
mom
looking up the
died, like,
yeah.
unleashed him from being
But
a
it's like,
child in
if
the
that was
water
the
to
case,
just-
He's looking at the address book and he's like, well, I mean, her last name starts with this, and then, well, if I go to the
getting the Rolodex out.
yeah, he's,
Wait,
he's
so
using the phone book.
Yeah,
or he's
like
getting crazy Ralph. Hey,
Yeah.
you know where this bitch went?
flipping through
like
the
if
yellow
she was
pages.
dumb enough to go back to the campgrounds and was like just like trying to
Yeah.
figure out who the kid
But-
was.
That
and
would be
then
one thing.
Jason
That
came
would be
out.
one
Okay,
thing,
that
yeah.
makes sense. But her being in some random house with the cat and stuff, and him just being like, "Here I am," and I'll guess. By the way, I put my mom's head in your fridge.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah, well, yeah.
So like,
You
you
did
went
it.
in, then you went
I mean,
back out
okay.
to come back in. Like, just get it all done at once, dude.
I mean, I get like slightly get the putting of the mom's head in there because it's like a reminder of like, I know what you did and like I'm gonna get you for it kind of thing.
Then why didn't he come back 30 years
Yeah.
before?
I have no idea. Well, yeah, and also why did it take him 5 years to like, track her down? How
had to
did he
wait for
track?
my
There's so many,
birthday
so many
again.
questions. So
yeah,
many
he had
questions.
a 5-year gap in between the first and the second.
Jesus.
So he's just plotting and waiting and just like
He was
tracking
busy
her down.
How am I
crawling.
gonna, how am I gonna get this bitch?
I gotta plan it just
How am I
right.
gonna get
Put the
this
Don't
head
bitch?
worry,
in the fridge.
yeah.
Then I'm gonna get out the window.
Get
Then she's gonna
back
find the
out.
window, and I'm not behind the shower curtain.
I'm gonna come in through the window. No, I'm not gonna come in through the window.
Just
How about the back
blueprints,
door?
just
No,
run
there's the
out
back
like-
door.
Yeah, like
Ooh,
the
ooh,
fucking
I'll have her open the window, get the cat in there, and then I'll
Home
slip in
Alone
there.
diagram planned out. What is
Well,
he
yeah,
gonna do?
and then I
Michael
also
Jordan
like
cutout, just going around in a circle. Like, wait, what?
I like once again go back to like the opening of like I have so many issues with the opening. The opening itself is just focused on like these two little feet just splashing through, and then it's just like a little girl or something singing like Itsy Bitsy Spider, and it's just I have like why Itsy Bitsy Spider? Why a girl? Why is the girl out there alone by herself in
Yeah,
the dark? Like, her
10:30 at
mom's-
night.
Like, yeah, her mom's calling her in and she's
Yeah.
like, it's time for supper, or whatever she says. Like, I get that. But then, like, literally right behind this girl, there's a serial killer that, like, she didn't just happen to, like, look behind and be like, oh my
No,
God,
they never do.
mister, what's that bag over your head?
And the scenes of Jason's like feet walking in that opening scene was played by a woman, which
Yeah.
never happened again.
That's the
only
first time-
female to ever play Jason.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Never happened again.
See, now that would be a flip where it's like, now we get, like, another Jason movie, but it's another, well,
Female Jason.
Yeah.
yeah, like a female Jason or
Yeah,
I still
sister.
think that like having
Sister.
Crazy Ralph be the killer in the second one would have been great because I feel like Crazy Ralph is just
There's a story
so he's just so unnecessary and like
Yeah,
you introduce him in the first one, that's great, that's cool, he's like a concerned local, and then in the second one bring him back, there's a reason to bring him back, and then he's trying to keep that tradition alive for whatever reason have you can insert.
And there's more.
here.
There's more meat there
Yeah,
to chew on.
but
and
they just
like, there's a
immediately
story
kill him
there.
off for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like, and they keep him around for whatever reason, like comic effect. Is that what we're
Essentially,
going for?
yeah, 'cause
because you
it's just-
basically have like drop dead Fred who's coming out of the bushes with the mask. Like,
But then every time he rides away on his bike all jankily, it always made me really laugh because I just heard that song from like
oh yeah, the weird.
yeah, and I was like in the summertime.
I think you sang that one.
every time he rode away.
Speaking of Jason's mom's head, what do we think about the alternative ending that was supposed to happen, where she was supposed to wink and then smile, and that was going to be the final scene of the film?
Not a good idea.
No.
I think that was well cut.
Yeah.
Like leave that out. You don't need that
I
shit.
just immediately hear like the Tom and Jerry theme music in my head of just like, or like the Looney Tunes where it's like,
That's all, folks.
Yeah,
like,
no,
and
like,
then just like,
it
oh,
closes
that's
in
all,
on her-
folks.
on their
Yeah,
eye.
like that's what I.
See, I would have been okay with it knowing how ridiculous the series got. Because they would have established like,
Jason
oh,
X?
like all
What do
like
you
just
mean,
like
Jason X?
there's people that have like superpowers all of a sudden. There's just like random shit that they're throwing in this franchise. Where like that would have
Spoiler.
been like, oh, okay, so you're going down that avenue.
Yeah.
You're just gonna do this. Like it would have added the campiness to just be like, oh, so none of these movies are ever gonna be like the
Yeah.
first one was.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go over the top every single time.
But I kind of understand too now why later on, or like even more so, that they pushed for like a Freddy versus Jason
Yeah.
crossover, because I feel like when you watch all of the Jason and the Freddy kind of crossovers, like you kind of get how both ends went a little more like, for lack of a better word, campy. You know, they're kind of just very silly, goofy kills kind of thing, and I think that's what these audiences kind of expect out of these movies now, is just these silly, like, outrageous kills of like, how are they going to do it this time? Like, even when, and we'll get to it eventually, but like the Leprechaun movies, like getting killed with like a pogo stick or like an espresso machine kind of thing, like it's just so silly and like so out of this world that you kind of almost want to watch it to see what ridiculous ways they're going to kill people. And even like for these movies, like these characters, these counselors, like I really had to look up their names, because I was like, who are these people? Like they're literally just like meat waiting to be like hung. Like it's just not even a thing.
I don't know that Marissa and Joseph both hated this movie. Ryan, do you like this movie, or do you hate it as much as them?
I don't like it.
You're alone.
You're alone.
It's just,
You're
you-
alone.
it's just me.
It
You're
introduces
so
some
alone.
great points. It's the first iteration that we get of Jason, which is interesting. But again, why? Because if he would have came back 30 years before
Yeah.
and just said like, look, Mom, I'm still alive. I'm a 30-year-old man. Or whenever, it would have stopped the killings of the first movie, making the first movie.
You used to love me forever and ever.
But I don't think he's coming back as like, I'm alive. I feel like the only reason he came back is because like what, the death and then the mother's love maybe brought him back to life.
They never
Kind
mention
of
it.
thing. I mean, yes, there's
don't know.
there's no iteration.
It's
of
just
it.
he's there and he's
I'm
there.
just saying like that would mean like that would make sense of like why he didn't come up in the first place. It's just like he's dead, he's done.
He's
But
just
then
on the other
mom
side of the lake hanging
enacting
out.
revenge of it, like maybe induced him. I don't know. I'm trying to.
I mean,
I'm
you're
trying
reading
to,
into it for sure,
I'm
because
just trying to
it's
make
never
sense of it.
stated.
Trying to
So
make
that's
sense
a
of it.
possibility,
Trying
yeah.
to make sense of it.
So
You
they
can try
never
to make
answered
sense.
what he did for 30 years? Just
Nope.
hanging in the bottom of a lake
He's
for
playing
30
Go
years?
Fish.
Yeah.
Somebody tried to explain it that like when his mom did what she did, that he had like a rebirth.
Yeah,
And
that's what I'm
came
saying.
to-
Yeah, I
yeah.
was like wondering if that's the whole.
Yeah, see?
Is he part mermaid
I
then?
didn't
If he
make these
can live
fucking
in the
movies, I
water?
don't know.
I don't.
What's he doing in between kills?
Plotting his next
Peeing,
skill.
walking
Yeah.
around.
Do you think? Oh no! Do you think he's taking advantage of like the camp amenities now that he knows how to swim?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Like he's like on the canoe, you know, he's shooting the little arrows.
He's having his own camp.
Ooh, he's doing one of those lanyards that you do, like those
Friendship
little plastic
bracelets
ones.
and-
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Make some
For
sloppy
his own,
joes.
for who?
Just
What
chilling.
friendships? Do you think he kills them and then he puts the friendship bracelets, or he's just like, you're my dead friend now? He just.
Yeah, that. All of that. That's
You're
what he
not-
was
no.
doing. For 30 years, that's exactly what he was
Sorry.
doing. That's my main thing, yeah. Why didn't he go home? All the killings.
He is home.
He's been home the whole time on the other side of the lake.
The other side of the
On
lake.
his own little island.
I hated that it was like another. There's like another dream sequence in this,
Mm.
like almost. I hate that they keep doing that.
Is it the end?
I
Is it the
forget.
dream
Yeah, what did I put?
It's either beginning or end.
Oh, sorry. The director says that like Jason crashing through the window at the very end is not a dream sequence. So that's happening.
So then how
That
did she
really
get
happened.
away?
Exactly. What the fuck happened to Paul?
He somehow.
What happened to Muffin?
Muffin's fine.
Muffin's fine.
They probably called animal services. Were like, hey, just
But
put
like the explanation is like he grabs her and then
Uh-huh.
he just like
Pulls her out of the
I'm going
window.
after Paul.
Nah, I'm
But
good.
Yeah.
so like in my head is like, did Paul go like no and like chase after him and he's like still running after Jason?
I don't.
Because then she's like, where's Paul? We never know.
You never know what
See,
else.
and I
Paul.
feel
No.
like they could have easily like kind of like closed the gap, the circle on all of this by having like Ted and Paul, like Ted who was the one who was at the casino, and then Paul like helping like Ginny into the ambulance and being like, it's gonna be okay now, and that would have closed the loop on like, okay, did Paul survive? Did Ted survive?
Yeah.
Like all these things, and it could have easily closed that loop. But yeah, I still don't understand why they show like I get the scare factor of having like Jason come through the window and grabbing her, But it doesn't make like you said,
But
it
go
doesn't
somewhere
make,
with
it doesn't make sense
Yeah.
of
Or
like
end
her
it there.
grabbing her and
Yeah,
then
or
just
yeah,
be like,
end
I
it
don't
there.
feel
Credits.
like
And it's like,
it.
whoa,
As soon
wait,
as it
what?
goes to the
That's how
window,
it ends?
credits. Don't have another scene where she's getting put into the ambush. Like, where's Paul?
Yeah.
Does it cut off and have like the bright white
Yeah,
light?
it does.
It absolutely
Yeah.
does.
And
Well,
the
and
next
this is
scene-
another thing too, where like you show like in the movie where like he goes to kill or Jenny goes to kill Jason, like it's in slow motion for some reason. Like this franchise is obsessed with like we're gonna finally kill the killer, and it's gonna be in slow motion. It does like that, like
Yeah,
and
like
it,
a Zack Snyder
like,
movie.
yeah, just was Zack Snyder even a thing back then?
No, but he loves slow mo.
I was like, it's the 80s, man.
No, but he loves slow mo shots.
I mean, everybody loves slow mo shots.
He loves it more than anybody
Well, not
else.
everybody, but like directors seem to love slow mo shots.
He's more into it than other ones, though.
I just-
That's like the running joke with his ass. It's like every movie slow mo.
Oh my god, I can't wait to talk
Slow-mo
about
shot.
Zack Snyder. We'll get there. Anyway,
get there.
Ryan,
I mean, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I just have a lot of like, what's going on?
want to talk about the rat pee?
I mean, we could talk about that. For some reason, yeah, that's a weird debate that you guys all have is who peed under the bed? Was it Ginny or the rat? But obviously,
No.
she peed herself under that bed. There's no reason to argue it. Why, you already have an argument about it?
Well, no, I was looking it up because you mentioned it earlier, and I was just kind of like, no, it's obviously her because like there's so much pee.
There's so
like,
much
why
pee.
would it be the rat? But I looked it up, and it is supposed to be the rat.
But the rat is by her head, and the pee's coming out of the bottom of the thing. And then when the rat moves,
once
it's
again,
still dry.
Continuity. I totally agree. But records, like, and then interviews and stuff like that say that it's the rat for
There's
some
records
reason.
on this. Is in the Jason wiki.
There's like a whole, well, no, like there's like so many like interviews and people like asking the same question, and but like how much pee is coming out of his rat?
That's a big ass rat.
Like I get why she peed herself. She's terrified. Like of course you would pee yourself. Like there's so many horror movies out there where like they show like the little puddle that just like
It's like a puddle
grows.
of piss too. It's not
It's-
like,
yeah.
It's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
And
Which,
it's like
like,
to show
yeah.
it is also like, oh, okay. Now?
At that point, it's like I know. Wait, this whole time for her to be under the bed, just make him take a leak right now.
Well, yeah, because if you're about to die, I mean, like, what's the worst thing that happen? You pee yourself?
Yeah, I think you're gonna do that regardless if
It's
you do
sterile.
die. And I
Is-
like the taste.
I don't like the taste.
Is Amy Steele the actress who
Yes.
plays
Yes.
Ginny?
Yeah.
So she said that somebody spilled Coca-Cola under the bed while they were filming.
It's pee. It's yellow.
No,
Yeah.
it is
It's-
Coca-Cola for sure.
Yeah.
You
It's
could tell.
yellow though.
And then
like,
they just ran with it. That somebody spilled the Coca-Cola and they just continued with it.
That's a
But then why
weird
have the
fucking
rat
thing.
in there? Also, why have the rat in there?
I don't know.
Like, what's the significance?
Rats are scary, creepy.
Are they?
Yes.
I mean, they're not as bad as cockroaches.
But because they're also like camp.
I mean, I guess. You know,
Joseph, that
He
just went
ignored the
completely
cockroach
over his
comment?
head. We all
Oh, I
looked at
agree.
you.
I was.
I was like, they're not as bad as cockroaches,
No,
and
the
literally the
roaches are
three
bad.
of us were just like,
I'm sure there's roaches that fucking camps too. I don't know.
It's probably infested with
absolutely.
roaches.
You
There's
know
a
what
lot of
they
brush.
always mention too in these movies? They always mention bears, and we never get bears.
Because Jason killed them.
Is
They're
he
his
killing those
friends.
There was a
bears?
comic.
He's gotta
where
eat.
He does kill the bear. Yeah.
Does he have to eat?
Yeah, he's
Is he alive?
Well, they show like there's like a toilet there that's being used,
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, in his little like
In
cabin
his little
with the
cabin.
mom head.
Yeah. It's like this is where this person's been living for however long.
Mhm.
So weird.
Yeah.
His little like weird like Helga Pataki.
Yeah, Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
Another Hey Arnold
Yeah,
reference.
this is just very.
The Hey Arnold gum head of
Oh, I, just,
Mrs. Voorhees.
I love Hey.
Voorhees, yeah.
I love Hey Arnold.
Just- or when she
Dug
puts
on.
the sweater on and he's like confused.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
How
that-
did she?
that
Yeah.
scene.
How did she know how to do that? Like, what? In what state are
it's like,
you in?
I'm gonna go with it. It's
you're
my
in
last
so
ditch
much.
effort.
Yeah, you're in so much fear that you pee yourself, but you're gonna like
Put on this.
put in your brain that like putting on the mom's sweater and being like, no, Jason.
Yeah.
Like, you've done good.
Mommy's here.
Like, yeah, like listen to mommy. Stop killing, and that's gonna work.
Worked for him.
Talk about mommy issues.
Yeah.
Like you would think she would grab the head and be like, "I'll fucking destroy it if you get closer to me.
Yeah,
like, let
that
me
would've-
go."
I would've
Like that would make more sense than being
Well,
like,
doesn't that
"Put this
doesn't that
sweater
happen in
on."
one of like the reboots or something where she picks up the head and she's like, "Listen to mommy," or like something,
It might
right?
happen in that one that we were just talking
feel
about
like-
earlier.
I feel
Yeah.
like that happens. Yeah.
You're
Anyway,
probably not wrong.
but I think with everything, at least for me, I'm gonna give this one a 1 out of 5 poppies.
Ooh.
I'm gonna save mine. You
Oh.
guys go first.
Well, obviously
was
we didn't
higher.
like it, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we
higher,
are.
I can
You
tell.
know it's gonna be higher.
You know
It's
it's
a
gonna be
4.
high.
You know
Um,
it's gonna be higher.
I'm at a 2. I'm gonna too. I do find this Jason at least more interesting and scarier than the other ones. I do like him with the burlap sack more than the hockey mask. I just think he's more terrifying, more realistic until he takes obviously the mask off and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah,
But
there's
like,
definitely
He's-
something spooky
He's
about
Sloth
that.
from the Goonies.
yeah. But I think it just added more value, being like, oh shit. So like, but then you go and you start thinking about it, like, yeah, you waited 5 years, and then
That's weird.
you started like breaking it apart. And it's very easy to break apart because it's a movie, but it's not great. So I'm comfortable with 2.
Yeah, I said 2.5 just because like the sweater scene is just iconic at this point.
Yeah.
But I still don't get it. Yeah, I'll stay at 2.5. 2.5 poppies.
You guys ready for mine?
I'm so ready.
So I gave the first one a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
I give this one a 4 out of 5.
Ew.
And what did you give Alien?
2.5.
2.5.
That's wild to me.
I think it's one of those where it's one of those guilty pleasure movies that I could just sit and watch. It made me laugh. I thought it was fun. I didn't really have to think while watching the movie. I didn't see myself getting bored. I think it's one of those where I understand the popularity of this movie. Joseph, I'm not even looking at you at this point.
I literally made so many faces.
I go back to the idea that the statement that I made in the beginning, where I think it takes the original Friday the 13th, takes the best parts of it and makes it better. Again, I like the murder scene. I like Ginny more than anyone else. And I think overall, like the cinematography, the music, everything, I liked
Even
it.
he was tired of it. He's like, I'm out of here.
That's fine. I still stick with my 4 out of 5 poppies.
Damn.
I
That's
can't-
high.
I cannot.
That's the highest rating I've ever given
That's
so far.
Which is
Wild.
wild that you give it to Friday the 13th Part 2.
It was good. I liked it.
Arguably, like what? Arguably, I think it's the most forgettable movie of the franchise.
No, disagree.
Arguably,
Disagree.
I said arguably.
Disagree. I'm just gonna disagree.
You're
with it.
allowed to disagree. I think
Absolutely.
it's a terrible
Everyone gets
movie.
their opinion.
I think
And
it's a
like
terrible
this.
movie. I think it's super forgettable. Oh man.
I think
I can't wait till we get the other sequels and see where these chips lie.
I feel like it's one of those where, like, again, back to the idea of like the campiness that we've all brought up. Like, it's a very campy movie
because
this
it's set in
literally-
a camp.
Yes, that
We just
too.
said it's in there.
It's campy, but it added to the campiness of it, and it was just enjoyable. Joseph, I'm gonna let you roast me for this now.
I think Camp Snoopy's scarier.
I got no words.
That's it. No words for me.
You let her
Knock
cook.
it off.
Oh my god.
Sorry. What?
Can't acknowledge it.
Just let it be.
Just let it be. All right. And now back into it.
Go, Joseph. Come on,
Uh,
roast me. I know you can.
No,
Do it.
It's your opinion.
Do it. No.
Do
Your
it.
opinion.
Do
Do
it.
it.
That's
You
what this
like
is
what you
for.
like.
Do it.
You're wrong. But you can like what you like. I understand how you can watch something like Alien and Aliens and give it a.
You're never gonna.
She's
you're-
saying that
score.
she's saying that Friday the 13th Part 2
I don't know
is
what-
better than Alien.
yeah.
She said that Ginny
Alien
is
and
her
Alien.
favorite.
That's
She
what I was
said
getting
Ginny
to. I
is
don't
better.
know what hurt me more, saying that Ginny's the best.
Final
Final
girl,
Girl.
of all time.
Or that you gave this a 4, which is a way better score than you give Alien or Aliens.
Or Aliens Resurrection. Or
What
we
the-
can.
Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
yeah.
we
Oh,
can
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
I'm
yeah.
talking
yeah,
about,
we're
like,
talking about this.
Bangers, Alien and Aliens, and they're like giving Friday
And,
the
like,
13th
Ripley?
Part 2.
Okay, to be honest.
Like top 3 Final Girls, like Ginny's not even in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even have her.
For
It's
me,
like
I
it's like
go through a list.
Sydney Prescott.
pod.
It's
No.
Ripley. It's I was gonna say it's
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie. Yeah. Well, what's her character's name? I can't even think of it right now.
I don't even know what we're talking about right now. We're
Final
having
Girls.
side conversations.
Like top Final Girls.
Oh, God damn, I can't think of it.
What's
I
her
know,
name?
I don't know
Jamie
why
Lee
I'm like
Curtis.
Laurie.
Yeah,
Laurie
Laurie
Strode.
Strode.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say those are like your top 3, right? And then you have like your et ceteras, right? And then like at the bottom of those et ceteras, there's your top 100,
Dude,
and even
I'll
after
take-
the top
I'll
100,
take
then
Mia
there's
from
Jenny.
the Evil Dead remake over Ginny from this fucking
Oh,
movie.
absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I would say she's like top 50.
Yeah.
She ripped
I
her
would
own
say she's
arm
top
off.
50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mia
I-
was fine though.
I
Yeah, what did
think-
Ginny do? She
okay,
let a man protect her with
She
a
put a
pitchfork?
sweater on.
She
Exactly.
did not.
She got pee on a sweater.
No. But I know you guys all like Sigourney Weaver and the character of Ripley. I actually do not consider her to be a final girl because
she
I
is.
consider it more sci-fi than I do consider a horror
But
movie.
sci-fi
It's a sci-fi horror.
I
It's
consider
a
it just
genre.
sci-fi.
It's a subgenre.
No, but there's
Just
sci-fi
sci-fi.
horror. What do you think the thing is then?
I've never seen it. I know you just bought the DVD and I still have not seen it.
Technically, we get to watch it.
I think Ryan just did, what is it? The Indiana Jones where like all the blood and the.
My whole face. My whole
Because
face.
Ryan
melts
loves
off.
the thing.
I love the thing.
I just hate when you watch it at night and then I wake up at 3 in the morning and it's just,
That's a
yeah,
true
it's
story.
just like the worst.
I couldn't sleep, so I was like, I'm gonna put on
I
the
was just
thing.
like, what
Right,
what is
she
the
woke up
thing?
right at the scene where the guy's arms are getting ripped
And he's
off.
like,
Yeah, perfect.
the worst.
Great,
I love you guys,
great practical effects.
but I stand by my
I have
opinion.
to rethink this.
No, it's perfect. I like it. I like the differing opinions
Yeah.
that are going on. That's what we want.
I'm so excited for the next pod. To
My
see
goal
what
is
she
to
thinks.
continue to surprise you guys with my
Yeah.
God.
reviews.
This is real. This is really what you think.
This
That's
is
what she
really
thinks.
what I
This
think.
is really what she thinks.
Yes.
All right. I mean, I just, some people do stuff for show. I
What's
just,
I
don't
want to
know.
know the other Mooney score. Like, how many times you pick up your phone?
Oh yeah, I need to know. Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like that should be Mooney's score. Is like how many times does she pick up the phone?
Because you're
whilst
saying like you
watching
didn't
this?
look at it at all. You're like, I'm in.
Yeah, she was locked in.
I still looked at my phone. I won't lie.
I mean, Mooney always looks at her
I
phone.
always
Like,
look
if
at
there's
my
a
phone.
movie that we can find where Mooney's not picking up her phone,
Mamma
that's what I
Mia.
have to say.
Here we go again.
Sorry.
It's because I'm too busy singing along.
No, it's just wild. I just can't get over it.
I will, unless we watch the movie in theaters, I will probably be on my phone. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But I still stand by it. 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
That's wild. Wild.
And there it is, folks. Let us know what movie you think we should do next. Tell us in the comments what you would have rated this movie.
Tell her
Join
if it's higher or less than Mooney's.
Or if
Yeah.
you agree with me.
join us on this. Like, basically, we're a movie book club at this point. Watch along with us.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start telling what the next movie will be.
Nah, let's keep it a surprise.
All right, we'll keep it a surprise for now. So.
Shock and awe.
Till next time, we're signing off. Podcast, a sequel,
Don't forget to subscribe, like, follow. Please.
all that jazz.
Yeah.
See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Until next time, the podcast, a show so sublime. Marissa, Mooney, Joseph, and Ryan signing off with glee. Join us next episode for more sequel revelry.